everybody. Welcome to not another Isekai show all about this season's anime, all the ones that we should be watching, what ones we shouldn't be watching. How many of them are Isekai? Probably too many. I'm Tyler, and yeah, like I said, we're talking about this season's anime. We're kind of deep into it at this point. We're closing in on pretty much halfway through the season. I'd say most of the things we're covering today, I had the wrong thing up because why not, you know? Most of them I'm covering today are halfway through, right? Going to episode 6. I think only a couple that up to episode 5. But episode 6, which means we're pretty much halfway through the season. Yeah, I'd say the season so far pretty good. I would say you can make a case that this season is the best season of the year. We'll see when we get down to the end of it, right? But this season's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts, and even crazier is that next season, which is winter of 2023, I believe, is gonna be wild. There's like 5 anime, like they're like sequels that are coming out. So, but yeah, this one's kind of crazy. So let's get into it, right? Alright, so as always, we're starting off with some Spy Family. Season 2, we got episodes 5 and 6. I am doing 2 episodes per show this time because I had a little bit of technical difficulties the past week or so, and so I missed an episode that I was supposed to put out, and so this is the episode where like, alright, we're catching up. So we're doing double duty this week, so just try to catch up. Spy Family Season 2, Episode 5 and 6. Yeah, this was great. This was a little off of the whole. I remember last time was some bottle episode. It felt like, even though it did kind of advance Yor's character, this time we're back at the school. Just like I said, we're back at the school. We're getting through the East and West stuff, and yeah, so we got some fun stuff here. We see that I forgot this happened. That Becky has a crush on Lloyd. And I believe we'll see that come back around a little bit. It's just a fun thing. I mean, it's one of those things where like you're a child and you have an adult and you're like, oh wow, you admire this person, and so it's kind of cute, right? And we go further and we are learning more about how Damien, right? Is it Damien? Damien is becoming a little soft for Anya, right? On the outside he's supposed to give his appearances, but he kind of likes Anya a little bit. You know what I mean? And so they do team up, right? He allows her to team up with them, and it goes horribly because Anya, not really good at anything. Like she puts her heart into things, but not particularly good at anything, I would say. But their Griffin does win first place, right? I don't remember if it was like staged or something. I don't believe it was. But it was just like, hey, the heart, the passion in this, I was looking at those two and I was like, okay, so how old are these kids supposed to be? I don't know if I could make something like that. And I always felt like in school I was always a little bit like artistically inclined. I always leaned that way. I would always love art class. I drew in my free time. I was the one with like sketchbooks and like construction paper and different types of like art pencils and stuff like that. I don't really draw too much anymore, but that was always me. And like I look at that and I'm like, I don't know if they could be like, here's paper and materials, make a 3D animal out of this. I'd be like, oof. I don't know if my brain would even work that way, where it's like, oh, I just know how to do this. That was pretty impressive. And I do like the more that we're getting of Damien's character, where we see more that he just wants to impress his father and wants his father to notice him, basically. Because his father, it's a classic relationship where it's like, oh, his father is just doing work all the time and, never really sees him. And, he's like, oh, it's his father. Oh, we're going to go see it. Or, I'm staying in the dorms for tests and whatever. But deep down, he just really wants, just really wants to hang out with his dad. And that's the whole reason why he's trying to get these Stella stars, because if he becomes an Imperial Scholar, then his dad has no choice but to notice him, right? What else do we got? We got Anya's powers don't work during a new moon. When I was watching that, I was like, wait, what? But then I was like, I mean, I guess telepathy is like sci-fi anyway, so sure, I guess during a new moon it doesn't work, and of course it's during the midterms, right? So that was pretty funny. We have her trying to study. Even Yuri can't help. Yuri's the one who apparently taught your school, and even he doesn't have the all the patience for Anya. Um, we have this weird like wacky character where we're getting into Daybreak. Daybreak is like supposed to be the antithesis of Twilight, and he's just awful, right? He's just like so obvious with him being a spy, like rolling around places, and he's just like he like just broke the window to get in, and it's like, what are you doing, dude? You're so what's the word? I can't think of the word, but he's just so like, come on, man, you're supposed to be a spy. You're supposed to like in and out. No one even knows. No trace. And so he was there to actually make the Desmond brothers score worse, which is funny because it's like, oh, we were kind of thinking that he was there for the same reason that Twilight was there, was to help Anya's score, bring it up. He was there to bring it down. So it must be some like rival family out there or something, trying to bring out Desmond. So again, like I've said before, where it's like the charm of Spy Family is just, this is just a family that's cobbled together. They all have their secrets, and we just want to see them do family things. At the end of the day, like, we do just want this to be like a slice of life anime almost. But we do have the East and West conflict, which is the whole reason the show exists, because the East and the West, we got Lloyd. Lloyd needs to bring together the family. Project. What's the project called? I don't remember what it's Operation Strix, right? So that's the whole reason the show exists, right? But like, we don't really care about that too much. We're just like, oh man, we want to see your cook food and and her actually get it right for once, But and then we see a nice little thumbs up there. We see Anya pass all of her tests, which is something that Lloyd wasn't really expecting, especially with no help, right? Because he did go in and like change some of the scores or whatever, but legitimately, I guess a 30 is passing. I don't really know how like the Japanese school scoring system works. I know in America, even in America, it's all disjointed. Like, because there were grades where it's like, ooh, a 60 is passing, a 65 is passing, a 67 is passing, and it's like, there's like no consistency. Like even like within the same grade, but like different classes. Like everyone had their own like thing. 70 is passing or whatever, and it's just like, what is happening? But like, even in elementary school, we didn't have scores. I mean, you would list the scores, but elementary school like report cards that would be sent to you, like, I don't know if other schools are like this as well, but elementary school report cards weren't real report cards. They were just like terms. So I remember it was like, there was like 3 or 4 different grades basically, and I remember the 2 good ones. I don't remember if there was a 4th one actually. I do remember at the very least there was unsatisfactory, which means that your child needs to improve, right? Like he or she or they are not reaching the mark. There was satisfactory, which was like, good, your kid. I mean, your kid can do better, but it's enough for there not to be any like negative consequences or whatever. And then satisfactory. What was above satisfactory? Like extraordinary or like excellent or something. It was something above that, which was like, ooh, your kid's killing it. So yeah, that's what that was. Do I have 2 tabs open right now? No. Okay. Losing my mind. So yeah, so it wasn't a real report. It wasn't like, oh, your kid got a 70 in this, a 60 in this. I mean, there was tests, and you would get scores. You could bring them home, be like, oh, on my spelling test, I only got 2 wrong or whatever. That's great. But like on the actual report card, there wasn't anything like that. So it does show like even this school, because it's like, oh, we're like not breeding. Breeding's the wrong word. Uh, grooming is closer to the right word. Um, I don't know. We're like creating, molding, I think is the good word. We're like molding the future leaders, and so it's like everything is like super advanced, right? Um, I mean, even all the math that they were doing was like, what? Um, and then at the end, we have a funny little thing where Daybreak is fired. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. Daybreak is awful. One, he failed because Twilight fixed it. But then two, I mean, he's just awful. He was like, hey, make sure to tell everyone about my story. Tell them how dope I am. And it's like, you're a spy. Like, I don't think you understand what you signed up for, you know? Which is funny because Lloyd has thought about that in his mind. Where he was like, yeah, no one, this is a very thankless job. It's like no one is ever to know what you've actually done to help protect the world. But yeah, so yeah, that was Spy Family Season 2, Episode 5 and 6. Again, we're getting more and more, this is more like plot-driven episodes, which I like, because it's, two big things here, right? We're moving in, which they're kind of connected, but we're moving in on the Damien stuff, right? We're advancing Damien's character, and then we're also getting more of the East versus West, Lloyd being a spy, all that stuff. So, yeah. Next, we got My Hero Academia Season 6, Episodes 6 and 7. Yeah. Season 6, guys, I was watching, I didn't watch them back to back, watch Episode 6, Episode 7, different days. It's just like, man, Season 6 is hitting. I've talked about this before, how, like, Season 5 wasn't super into it. I thought it was just okay. I think even Season 4 I was like kind of on, but definitely Season 5 I was like, man, I don't think I'm excited for the show anymore. It's still something that I'm probably gonna watch, but I don't know if like the excitement level, I don't know if the excitement level's there anymore. And this one's hitting though. This one's hitting hard. So we have Toga going nuts, right? Because she really liked the what was his name? Like Duplicate or something. What was his? I don't remember his name. But she really liked him, and so she was going nuts, just slicing everyone, basically trying to get the blood and trying to become anyone, right? She's a whacked character. And then we have more Shigaraki. He has multiple quirks, but his goal is the one for all, right? So all for one is kind of, has his hand in his mind, and he was able to be injected with a bunch of all for one's quirks, and he's basically all for one, right? He basically has the all for one quirk, which is I can just kind of take stuff, right? And so he's done that. He's done a lot of that, and so Shigaraki is one of those characters that I thought was always kind of evil, right? But like truly evil, like there's villains, and it's like, okay, this guy's a villain, but there's other people that's like, no, this guy, you don't want to mess with him. And that was always Shigaraki, because the whole decay power is like awful. Like, I hate it. just turning to dust, dude. That's terrible. But with him having all for one now, and oh man, it's so tough. He's like, he really is the one, like he is turning into Thanos. It's just like, we need everyone, there's really no one out there that can 1v1 him, and we have Midoriya and Bakugo are kind of, I wrote this down. Midoriya and Bakugo are kind of like Naruto and Sasuke, except better. It might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but I think they're a little better because Naruto, spoilers I guess for Naruto, but like Naruto and Sasuke were kind of cool together, they made each other stronger, they pushed each other, there's a nice little arc there of that, and then they would kind of like neg each other into being better, I remember the one thing where Sasuke called Naruto a scaredy cat on their who was the swordsman that they fought? Oh man, Zabuza, on the whole Zabuza thing. And then back when they were in the tuning exams in the forest of death or something. I forget what it was called. Naruto saved Sasuke and called him a scaredy cat, right? So it's that like back and forth of like they actually don't hate each other, you know. But then Sasuke just ran off, and we kind of hated his character for a while there, for like most of the show, because it was like, why you ran off to join Orochimaru? Come on. We kind of understood why, but it was like, come on, what are you doing? You know. But with Midoriya and Bakugo, like it was sort of malicious in the beginning, just like Naruto and Sasuke, but then it really has become this thing where they are pushing each other, and like they don't hate. I mean, Midoriya I don't think ever really hated Bakugo. Bakugo I think did resent Midoriya for a while there, and you know, but now it's kind of grown into this thing where it's like they kind of understand each other, and they are making each other better, and it's stayed this way, you know. And if we're thinking Midoriya is Naruto and Bakugo is Sasuke, Bakugo is a way better like match for the main character than Sasuke ever was. So yeah. Razorhead is dope. I just had to write that down because he's, you know, his quirk is so OP, but it works, you know. And so him being able to be there and just negate Shigaraki, you know, is just so cool. And then we have Shigaraki releasing more Nomus, which is awful because we thought all of them were destroyed. We thought, you know, this is gonna be tough, but all of us versus Shigaraki, we can't lose. We can't, especially with Eraserhead erasing his quirks. Like, he's physically strong, which is ridiculous, but we can't lose against this. Come on, we got it. But the Nomus throw everything out of whack because they're crazy. And we have one of the hypest moments, I think, of the entire show. Like, if I'm being honest, I mean, it's been forever since I watched the other seasons, but like Shigaraki beelining for Eraserhead, and it'd be like, oh no. But even for a second there, I was like, well, what's oh no about it? I mean, physically he's strong, but like, come on, we can get him. He ain't that. But then Midoriya coming out of nowhere and just tackling this guy, and then giving like a speech, which is very shonen. But he said something. He was like, if Shigaraki can't use his quirk, then we can fight him too. You know, because that was the whole thing, especially with the heroes and the students, where it was like, hey, Shigaraki, like, he's on another level. Like, we can't have you risking it. You guys are kids. Like, you know, we can't have you guys being decayed. You know, like, that's not a good look. You know, so you have to keep your distance. But then Midoriya's like, hey, if you got his quirks, he can't decay us. And so, yeah, he's strong, he's fast, he's all that stuff, but like, now that his quirks are gone, the students can come in and be like, okay, we're gonna help out, because with these Nomu, it's like, if you just use heroes, there's not gonna be enough, you know, because these Nomu are a problem. But without the quirk, we can throw some interference. You know what I mean? He wants me anyway. Listen, I mean, he's gonna go after me, so I might as well fight. I wrote down that Endeavor is so strong because he is. He's just really dope, and like it's fun to see his rise, because he was, again, kind of like that sibling rivalry, right? Where he was always the number 2 hero behind All Might, and then when All Might went down, it's like, okay, he's automatically number 1. But Endeavor doesn't really feel like he's earned it in that way. Like, he still feels like, man, but if Endeavor was still here, I'd still be number 2. You know, like, I'm number 1 because he's not in the race anymore. And so, you know, it's been really fun to see him rise and try to prove that he's number 1. Try not necessarily be All Might, but find his own path and have people respect him and want him to be there, you know. You know, especially given the whole relationship with like his family and stuff. It's like, you know, he's got to redeem himself a little bit. I had a question here too, and I'd love for people to answer this, because I mean, I guess I could just Google it, but I proposed the question on here. Is Mount Lady just big all the time? Because I was thinking about that. I don't remember seeing Mount Lady be small. Like, is she like Ant-Man, where Ant-Man can do the thing and get big? Or is she big all the time? You know? 'Cause I feel like that's a problem. You know, where does she get her sustenance? You know? Because I imagine being that big, you got to eat a lot of food. I mean, it is I mean, it is like superpowers, so it's like, you know, I at this point you could just explain it like, oh no, she's fine, she doesn't need it, you know. But like, is she big all the time? I'd really like someone to answer that for me, you know. And then at the very end, Midnight got wrecked and told Yaoyorozu to make sedatives. It was like, hey, I know it's illegal, which I don't remember why. If someone can explain that to me too, I would greatly appreciate that. Told her to make sedatives, and I don't remember why it was illegal, but I guess they're gonna try to put the giant to sleep, which is tough, you know. I mean, two things here. One, can't wait to see that because we need the giant gone. Because the giant enters the race, it might be too much for everyone to handle. Because already we got Shigaraki and the Nomu is already kind of overwhelming, right? Even though they're giving Shigaraki work, like Bakugo, Midoriya, Endeavor. There's another one that I'm forgetting. Torino. Killing it, right? But the giant comes in with the rest of the league. Oof, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But then two, I love seeing Yaoyorozu be a leader, you know. I love My Hero because I feel like it does a pretty good job of giving the spotlight to many different characters. I think that was always a problem for me with Naruto, and I'm always compare it because they're both shonen, and you can clearly tell that this was inspired at least a little bit by it. Naruto really introduced a ton of characters at one point, especially with like the tuning exams, and just kind of didn't focus on them anymore. I mean, even characters within the Leaf Village, just didn't really focus on them anymore. And I was like, oh man, I really want to see, like Rock Lee. I know Rock Lee was kind of taken out of commission, but I want to see more of him. Like, clearly he can still fight. Like, we saw him, the whole like drunken master thing. Like, his ninja days didn't end. Why didn't we see more of him? It was really annoying. But with this, I feel like it does a good job where it's like, hey, there's other here. I mean, even though I know there's a bias to class 1A, of course, but even with that, like, that is still better than what Naruto gave us, I feel like. So like seeing Yaoyorozu be like, no, Yaoyorozu is like a leader, and like she deserves to get some shine, and I love it. And I'm sure next episode we'll see a lot of her, because I feel like that's what next episode's gonna focus on. Is gonna be them going and trying to beat the giant, because all these different points are coming together. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, My Hero season 6, episode 6 and 7, was great, awesome, love it. Loving My Hero again for the first time in a while. Next, Mob Psycho 100 Season 3, Episode 5 and 6. This one popped off. I don't know where the show's going from here. We have half the season left. If it feels like the 6 episodes were like its own story, so I'm interested to see what 7 through 12 or 13 or whatever are going to be. So yeah, we have the Psycho Helmet God feeds off strong belief, which is tough because he's basically brainwashed everyone into believing. So he's just got everything at this point. Reagan apparently figured all this out before anyone. Reagan was the first one to be like, hey. Oh no, was it? Yeah, it was Reagan, right? I'm pretty sure that's what he said. He said Reagan figured it out before anyone. And then we found out this is Dimple. I'm sure people guessed that. I didn't guess that. It makes sense because he dipped and we didn't really see him for a while. And it's like, oh, okay, here we go. And Dimple is always like behind the scenes, tried to like always waiting for his move, right, to kind of take over. I think his plan was to take over Mob's body, right, because he figured Mob was so powerful that he was gonna take him over, right? I believe that was the plan. I don't really remember. And what else we got? Belief has given Hanazawa godly powers, which is nuts because up to this point we're like, Mob is OP, can't lose, and so we saw him just like freeze Hanazawa, and we're like, yeah, duh, like come on, no match for him. But then he came out of it, and it's like, oh no, maybe God is real, And And then I just had a quick note where I was like, I love when it shows the percentage screen, where it just like clicks to that screen and just like has it go tick, and it just like ups from 71 to 72, and you're like, oh no, it's coming. He's rising. I just love it's such a simple tool that the show has in its arsenal to just literally like tell you. You know that thing where it's like show don't tell. It's like, well, even though this is a visual, it's still basically telling us like, hey, mob's getting mad and his powers are going up, and it's like, man, you're just telling us, it's 79, 80, 81, but it's still so cool because it's like, ooh, he's getting there. And then Dimple dragged he dragged Tsubomi into this, and that was another straw for Mob, because it's like, dog, you don't bring her into this. Come on, what are you doing? Sorry, I just had to fix that. And we have God Dimple. He's all gold and muscular and stuff, and I'm like, this show's ridiculous. this show is stupid. but it's great because it was, again, we kind of learned that Dimple just really wanted Mop to listen to him. It felt like he was talking to him so much, and he sort of wanted to be his friend, like, even though deep down, he did have this ulterior motive. He did grow soft for Mob, kind of like everyone does, right? But he was able to use this sort of neglect to kind of fuel, to kind of like outweigh his priorities, right? So he molded himself into this God Dimple, like, oh, it's what I always wanted. And it's like, yeah, because Mom kind of breaks it down where it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is what you wanted, but not anymore. Like you don't really want this. Like I'm trying to think. It's like, okay, this is a reference that some of you may get, probably none of you, but if you've ever watched Kid Cosmic, Kid Cosmic is a cartoon made by Craig McCracken, I think is his name. I'm probably butchering that, but he's the dude who made, I believe, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends cartoon. And I think, was he a part of Powerpuff Girls in some way? I'm pretty sure there's another cartoon out there that was huge that he was a part of. So Kid Cosmic, for anyone who doesn't know, probably most people haven't seen it. There was a character there was an alien that came down, and his sole purpose was to get stones, right? It's, clearly a kind of a parody, not really parody, but kind of their nod to Thanos and the Infinity Stones and all that stuff, right? So his whole thing there was, I'm gonna get these stones, I'm gonna bring them back to my master, and he's gonna love me, right? But over time, he grows to, first resent his master, and then at the same time love Kid Cosmic. And so it shifts where it's like, hey, my initial goal was to just be like, kill all humans, get the stones, take over the planet. But then as he moves on and he learns more and he interacts with certain characters on Earth, it's like, oh no, I actually don't want that as my goal anymore, And so that's kind of what's happening here, I feel, where it's like, Dimple wanted to be powerful and whatever, right? But as he's growing closer to Mob, it's like, oh no, this actually doesn't matter. I actually just have more fun chilling and going through these like psychic things with y'all and all that stuff. So yeah, but at the very end it does get a little bit scary and sad, right? Where it's like, oh, you think it's over, we chilling, but then Psycho Helmet has manifested into a physical form, and Dimple realizes that he has created this thing that is not going to go away, right? It's not just going to go away. It's not just, oh, I leave, Divine Tree dies, we good again. Nope, not going to happen. So unfortunately, Dimple has to sacrifice himself. He says goodbye to Mob, and he rockets himself into space, and he's gone. Right, so we have a very heartfelt goodbye. A character that I'm sure many people watching the show didn't realize they were that attached to, but you're watching, you're like, wow, like Dimple really was there from the beginning, and he's gone. Like, we had this huge, like, character shift and growth in just these, 1 episode, 2 episodes, And it's like, oh, now he's gone, and, it's possible he can come back, anything can happen in this show for real, so we'll see, but it was an emotional moment that I feel like Mob Psycho does so well, because you think of it as just a stupid fun show, just doing the psychic stuff, Reagan and Mob's relationship, all that. But then they do have a moment like this, and it's like, oh, they got us, Like I said, this does very much feel like an end to an arc almost. So I'm just to see what the second half of the show will be. We'll see, But next, Blue Lock. Blue Lock episodes 5 and 6. Isagi and Nico are very similar, right? They have very similar powers where they feel like they can see everything on the field. They can, they just kind of feel it out, and they dish it out to their team, right? But Isagi feels like he's different. He's like, oh yeah, we're similar, I guess, but you're not me. You're not me. I can do what you can't. And Isagi scored, so that was crazy, right? He's able to smell goals. And my one comparison here is that I don't know how many of y'all have watched this, but this was also a this year's anime. I think it was last season before. It was Aoashi, also a soccer anime. Very funny that we had 2. I feel like we don't get too many soccer anime. We got 2 of them this year. But Isagi, not to spoil Aoashi, but Isagi very similar to Aoashi, very similar to the main character of that show, where he just kind of rides on like animal instinct. It feels like he can see the whole field, or the whole pitch. I think it's called like a soccer pitch, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, so very very similar there. Also, you haven't seen that show, go watch it because it's incredible. Aoashi, nuts. It's crazy that we're gonna get 2 incredible soccer anime in 1 year, even though Blue Lock is 2 cores, so technically it's going to finish next year. But Chigiri came to Blue Lock to give up, which is crazy. It doesn't really make sense to me, because it's like, why come at all? You came here for a reason to give up, just give up then. Like that's not real. You don't really you didn't come here to give up. You're just saying that to lower the expectations. Be like, well, I lost. What did I expect? I knew it was gonna happen. Like, no, don't give that to us. Isagi is now Z's top player, which is nuts. But he showed off, right? He had the crazy smell the goal, kick the thing, do the thing. We got here, and Ego, that was his name, right? Ego is also like, it's motivation though. Because now the bottom of the barrel, he was the second to worst ranked player on Z's team. Now he's number 1. So now it's like, oof, now everyone's fired up because they're like, wait. He rise to number 1? That means that he's doing way more than we are. We gotta show out, right? It's a clever strategy. And he realizes that he has to improve his physique, right? Because he has a weapon. He was like, what was it, Bakira, right? His whole thing is dribbling. So it's like, okay, well, he can kind of move with drills, and he can focus on his footwork. He can get better in a very fundamental way. Whereas with me, it's like, how do I improve my intuition? You can't really improve intuition inherently. So he's like, okay, so I'm just gonna focus on building my physique. That way my physique can, and my body, the athleticism, the skill, the speed, not the skill, athleticism, the speed, the strength can keep up with my mind, basically, right? And that's okay. We'll see that. They plan on doing 3-player rotations instead of the single-player rotations to kind of which is smart, right? We're kind of putting the puzzle piece together. It's like, okay, we're going to put together certain weapons that work together. That way we can focus on them more broadly, and we don't have to switch out every 10 minutes, which is crazy because it's like no one really is able to find a groove. But if we have 3 people working for 30 minutes, then we can find a groove. We can score easier. You know, we're not going to be like, oh, I just got hot and now we're switching out, you know. Let's see, Chigiri used to be teammates with the twins, so I'm sure we're going to get more, you know, because this match isn't over, so I'm sure we're going to get more of that backstory. You know, I did we ever learn what Chigiri's weapon was? I remember him saying that it was like somewhat similar to Isagi's or something, but he has like a glass knee or something. So yeah, so I'm sure we'll get a flashback or something of that, you know, something similar. And then we have the beginning of the end, which we didn't know was the beginning of the end when it started, but we have Kuon scoring 3 goals in the first half. Nuts, right? We've never seen something like that on Team Z, right? We've seen it on other teams where it's like, oof, Team Z's getting killed. But Kuon over here, killing it, right? And we're like, we can't lose. But in our minds, right, because we're anime viewers, right? So we know this is a show. We know this isn't real life. So I feel like, especially if you've seen enough anime or just enough content, right, whether it be movies, TV, books, you know, whatever, right? Like, you know, okay, they're cooking something up, right? Like, you can't just sit there and like after watching the show up until this point, it's only been a few episodes. We've had a lot of matches, a lot of competition. You know that it's like, so wait, you're telling me that this episode they're just gonna win? We're just gonna win? We're just gonna kill it? We're just gonna win 8-0? No way. No way. No way. We can't do that, right? Because that just goes against what the whole show is, you know? It's the same thing with any sports anime, where it's like, they always put us in the position of the underdog, right? So like, some sports anime I've seen, Haikyuu, right? It's the underdog team. It's the team that used to be glorious, and now they're not, and they're clawing back to it, right? We got Kuroko's basketball show, right? Where it's like a group of, a team that no one really, a team that was pretty, actually very similar. A team that was pretty good, but could never really get over that hump, and now they're trying to go against the Generation of Miracles, which, if you've never seen the show, it's nothing to you, but go watch it. Even Megalobox, a boxing anime I watched, which was pretty good, was the underdog, where it was like, hey, he doesn't really use the crazy enhancements, the crazy like robot arm enhancements that everyone else does. He's just a regular dude, but he's gonna rise to the top. He has to, right? So sports anime always do that. So for us to be 6 episodes in, 6 episodes in, you'd be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna clear this team. Like, no way. Like, that'd be so boring. You know, could you imagine? And of course, I'm hoping you've seen the episodes, or else I'm majorly spoiling them for you. We know that didn't happen. You know, I'm going to talk about in a second the crazy twist in the episodes, but like, we know it didn't happen. So it's like, could you imagine if this episode was just, oh yeah, they keep scoring and they win 7-0? You know, it'd be like, why did we watch those episodes? You know, we just watched them be good. You know, that's boring. We want to see the struggle, you know, because at that point there's no point. There's no point in the match. Skip it, you know. But the downfall. We're doing so well, 3-0, and the other team scores, and they score again. And it's like, ooh, what is the common denominator in every goal scored this game? Kuon. He scored all 3 goals for our team, and he was the one that was supposed to stop or made the mistake, which allowed the other goals to score, the other team to score goals. And we realized that Kuon leaked the playbook. He made a deal with the other team to say, hey, I will give you all the plays, I'll give you all the info on my team so you can win. You just gotta let me score 3 goals so I can be this goal scoring leader on my team. And we don't really, in that moment, I was with Isagi and the whole rest of the team where I was like, I don't understand why he's doing this. You know, because if we lose, we lose. Like, what are we? What is the goal here? But we're reminded of the stipulation where it's like top scorer on your team advances. Apparently, I forgot about that. I thought that was. I remember that now, but I didn't take that as like a rule, as like most definitely the top scorer on every team advances. I thought it was just like it could happen, like we could go there if you show out enough, and it's like, okay, he was unlucky because he was on a bad team, but he was scoring like 2-3 goals every game, until his team lost. Like, we need to bring him in, we need to keep him in. Like, I thought it was something like that, not like most definitely the top scorer. So like, I didn't really understand that, but it is what it is. He made the thing. He is calculating that Team Z will never advance to the championship. Top 2 will never get there. So I'm just gonna be the top scorer and advance on my own. It's a betrayal. It's a betrayal like we have never seen. I've never seen in a sports anime. I've never seen them just betray an entire team. Be like, we here. And so that's where we're at. We're now playing 12v10 instead of 11v11, and it's tough. It's tough. I think, again, playing with the meta a little bit, I think we know that Team Z is gonna win, and I'm very interested to see how that works, because if Team Z wins, and they will, because if Team Z loses, then all of our main characters are just out of the anime. They're just out of the show. Like, who do we follow? You know what I mean? How does that work for the dynamic? Because like Kuon is not only a member of this team, and he will have to continue being a member of this team going forward after they win, despite his betrayal. Benedict Arnold, but he was kind of like the leader of the team. He was kind of the one that was like devising everything. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be cool. I'm also very interested to see how they win, how they combat this, and they win versus disadvantage of 12v10. I don't know. Next, we got Eminence and Shadow, episode 5 and 6. Let's get it. Iris was trying to cut down that demon. She was putting in work. She was putting a lot of work, doing the whole anime sword slashing thing. Not really making a whole lot of progress though. Like, it certainly looked good, but I don't know at that rate how quickly she was gonna defeat the demon. So then Alpha comes in. Alpha, man, shout out to Alpha, killing it. Just one shot the demon, like power, like Iris has never seen. And she's like, who is Alpha? Who is this? What is happening here? So we just see the power of Kageno and the Garden of Shadows, where it's like, this is something different. This is something's going on here. Somebody did this. And then we have Kageno just calmly giving the knight that work. Just calmly, like, no tenseness in his shoulders, no contortion of the face, no sweat, just sitting there just calmly, just boom, 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 while the knight is he's seen his life flash before his eyes, because he's like, how is someone this powerful? It's always funny when we have fights like that in anime, where like we know the main character is cracked, but the opponent doesn't, and then the opponent loses, and the opponent's like, what? How could this happen? It's just like, I feel like after the first 5 seconds of giving your all to this other person, and him just swatting you away like a child, I'd be like, all right, you know what? I'm good. I'm done. I don't need this no more. I I just don't want this smoke. And then he ate the pills, which was awful. Did you see what I saw? Because I saw him be like, these pills. I mean, first off, he was like, I am the third awakened, which I was like, okay, and I'm Kageno. I am the shadow on the Garden of Shadows. Like, did you just not see me put in the work I just put in without breaking a sweat? And you're over here like, I have a title which you should respect. It's like, you're nothing to me. You know what I mean? But he like ate the pills, right? And he was like, these pills can boost my power 10 times of a regular human. And then he like ate them, but like half of them fell, like missed his mouth. I'm just like, were you trying to eat all of them? Were you trying to eat one? Like, I don't understand what the whole tilt was, you know? 6 pills fell out of your mouth and 2 of them went in. Like, what are you're wasting them. What are you doing? And then he lost. You know, there's really not much there. He lost. He got destroyed because Kageno is not the one. He's just not the one, you know. Alexia realized that Kageno has the same fencing style. You know, because she was like, oh, I was never able to live up to the prodigy, and so my style is one for maybe, you know, people who don't have the most skill or the most strength, but my style kind of makes up for it, you know, because like the way I fight kind of makes up for my other areas of weakness and just lacking. And so Kageno has the same style. And it's interesting because he was also the one that was like, you know, I like, well, no, he said he likes the style, and then didn't Iris also say that she likes it or something like that, right? And so that kind of like hits her, right? Hits her to her core. Then we got Gamma. Moving on to Gamma, who made the store for Kageno to kind of like emulate, recreate the stuff that Kageno gave her and showed her back in the day. She makes a crazy amount of money. She already made $1 billion. Got $1 billion over here. Wild stuff. Jeff Bezos, who? And then we have Kageno, who's kind of suspicious. I don't remember exactly why he's suspicious, but he did sneak one of the coins from her. So I don't exactly know why he's suspicious of that. You know, he's like kind of like, ooh, what's going on here? I guess we'll get more answers next episode. And then you do not want to be a Garden of Shadows imposter. Because listen, man, Kageno and the rest, Alpha, Gamma, all them people, they put in the work to become the Garden of Shadows. And you're over here killing people indiscriminately with their name? No. Even Gamma's ruthless. Gamma was like, I am not as forgiving as Lord Shadow. Like you know, Lord Shadow's big brain over here. But I'm just like, you taking our name? No. Your life is over, literally. So yeah, that was that. Again, good show. If I'm being honest, it does get a little confusing at times. But, you know, I do think stuff is starting to come together. You know, I do think with the other people here, you know, him kind of realizing that other people have their little outposts, Alpha, Gamma, all of them. And, you know, especially with the Cult of Diablos and the Garden of Shadows, they're not really getting mixed up, but they are both enemies to the kingdom. You know, so, you know, we are starting to see more pieces not only get revealed, but start to interlace with each other. So, it's getting good, man. It's getting good. It's still a very interesting show. So yeah, excited to watch more. Next, More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, episodes 4 and 5. God, what a show. What a show. You know, this is the epitome of like rom-com, just garbage, but like in the best way, you know. So we got Tenjin might stay with Shiori. It's a big might, but kind of almost a relief for Akari. You know, you can see it where you think on the outside she's crying because it's like, oh no, Tenjin would never switch to be with me, but on the inside it's tears of relief where it's like there's a wall, you know. It's like even if we get A rank, we know that Tenjin might not want to switch, you know. He might stay with Shiori, and then that's kind of an excuse. That's kind of like a little bit of wiggle room that Akari might like to use to her advantage and be like, well, you gotta stay together, you know, maybe more time for us to be together, you know. Shiori definitely wants to switch with Jiro though. Like we know that for a fact. Where she's like, oh, but if you got A rank, maybe we, and then interrupted, right? As it always happens. But we know that Shiori wants to be with Jiro. So it's tough, man. It's tough because it's also like at this point I don't really know who Tenjin wants to be with. I don't know if he actually wants to be with Akari or not. I don't know if that's been revealed yet. And I don't even know if that happens in the manga. I don't really remember, honestly. But Shiori, it is really a fight because Shiori wants to be with there, but Akari wants to. And so it's getting there, man. It's getting there. It's a classic love triangle situation. Camo told Jiro that Tenjin and Akari kissed, which they didn't. But his duty as a friend, gotta let him know if that's what he believed happened. Then he's gotta let his best friend know. Gotta let him know. On the outside, though, Jiro shouldn't care because Jiro, doesn't want to be with Akari. What does he care? That's the goal. Them kissing is great. And Akari was very upset when Jiro brought this up because she's just like, well, I didn't do it. Didn't happen. But she did get upset. She started like crying a little bit and was just like, because there's a lot of emotions going on in her head because again, we know at this point she wants to be with Jiro more than Tenjin. Like Jiro's her guy, and so for that to have a misunderstanding to happen, she'd probably maybe mad at herself to even let that be in the situation. She's also maybe confused. She's not supposed to be with Jiro. Supposed to be, I'm with Tenjin. That's the goal, and so a lot of stuff happening on her end. We see that we revealed that Jiro kiss was Akari's first. It was a sneak too, because she was like, "Oh, you coming out of nowhere, kissing me on the lips like that. That's not what I asked for. That's not what was supposed to happen." Little bit of embarrassment there. That's always a fun time, I guess. I don't know. Mei switched with Shiori so she can be with Jiro. Yeah, that was good friend Mei. Good friend Mei over there. Switching so that Shiori and Jiro can have some quality time together doing their little after school activities. Yeah, because we know that Mei likes Shiori, right? Like, hey, my friend, want what's best for you, all that stuff. So I'm gonna put you in a position to do it. And unfortunately, Shiori couldn't kiss Jiro. Couldn't work up the mustard. Which is funny because it's misunderstanding on both sides. Where it was like, oh no, I couldn't do it, and Jiro was like, I'm such an idiot. Why did I go in like that? Of course, she wasn't trying to kiss me. So that was a fun little misunderstanding. Even though what they both wanted was what they both wanted, but it didn't happen. Just like, these two are hopeless, And Akari wants Jiro to use her first name because it's like, I call you your first name all the time and you keep using my family name. It's embarrassing. Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be together. It's this. She lets it slip, like, in love, And she's like, well, no, that's not what I mean. It's just practice. I'm just talking about, like, within this assignment. I'm not actually in love with you, She's definitely the one that lets it slip, like, way more often. She'd be letting stuff come out way more than Jiro does. And Jiro got a nosebleed from getting all hot and bothered. Him kind of going for it a little bit. Nosebleed. Akari makes fun of him. As it goes. And so this show, again, very rom-com-y. A lot of cliches just coming out left and right. But it is still fun. It's more of those, like, I've mentioned this before, where it's just kind of like a popcorn show where it's like, let's just watch it and have a good time, I haven't read the manga in a while. I'm definitely behind in the manga as well, so I don't really remember what happens exactly. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see who you guys are rooting for. Do you think that what on paper should happen with the Shiori and Jiro and Akari and Tenjin? Or are you guys rooting for, a little bit of Akari and Jiro action? You think they're a better couple together? For me, it's tough because it's like, childhood best friends. They've liked each other since they were childhood best friends, you know? And so it's like, oh, well, they clearly that makes sense. But then it's like, they've never actually spent quality time together as a couple, where it's like, even though it's an assignment, Akari and Jiro have, and they actually know what it's like to be a couple, and they do actually have developed feelings for each other, where it's like, it's kind of impossible for that to happen with Jiro and Shiori, because the optics, you know what I mean? But we'll see. I mean, we're getting closer and closer. I mean, again, we're barely halfway through the show, the first season, if there is multiple seasons. And so there's still plenty of time, plenty of shenanigans to be had. So we will see. Next, we got Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man episodes 4 and 5. Man, this show just continues to be possibly the show of the year. It's just crazy. It really is. What do we have? We got Denji saving Power and Meowie. Yeah, he's the one. He's saving him. Where he didn't really have to, because Power betrayed him, and he could have just been like, forget him, But he still has his personal goal, right? So that's what he claims he did it for, right? Denji's also pretty slick in his human form, because we remember, we may possibly forget, that he was a demon slayer before, a demon hunter, not demon slayer. Demon Slayer is a different show. He was a demon hunter before he got the chainsaw powers, so he was out here killing, maybe not hunting demons to the level of the Bat Devil, or Devil Hunter. Devil Hunter, Demon Slayer. Two different things. Maybe not hunting devils to the level of a Bat Devil, because Bat Devil is formidable, but he was still out here doing it. So he does have some physical prowess, some skill, some athleticism, right? Hayakawa summoned the Wolf Devil to eat the Leech Devil, which I completely forgot that was a thing. It's like, oh right, the whole like wolf head thing. It's like a big like symbol and like the chainsaw, the Chainsaw Man thing. It's like, right, yes, he can summon. He has a thing with the Wolf Devil to eat him, and he got the thing, and we're good. So yeah, that was crazy, because Denji was not doing it right. He lost a lot of blood, so he couldn't really go full. If he could go full chainsaw, I'd give him the upper hand there. But he was still putting in that work, even being only like 10% chainsaw. He was still putting in the work. He wasn't gonna win though. He absolutely was not gonna win. But again, it's nice to see more devil hunters and see what their powers are, because we know, we can assume that Hayakawa is strong, skilled, right? He is very trusted by Makima, and you imagine that anyone that Makima trusts is competent at the very least. But for us to see, okay, here's his thing, right? Here's his power, right? Because everyone has one apparently. Got the wolf thing. I'm interested to see, like I said, I've read the manga. Don't remember the ins and outs of it too much. I'm interested to see like where his limit is, if he has one, right? Because it's like, is the Wolf Devil contract just like too OP? I don't know. Could be. He could just skate through everything easily. They wanted to dispose of Power, right? Because they're like, Power betrayed them. Like, we know. Like, we don't know, but we know that Power intended to kill Denji, and that's why we found a trail of Denji's blood. They just so happened to come upon the Bat Devil. They were outside of their zone. You know what I mean? Like, all the pieces are way too convenient to not lead to Power betrayal. But Denji stood up for her, and because he water under the bridge, and there's also an understanding there too that I think Power and Denji have. Makima now has Power living with Hayakawa and Denji. Not something that either of them really want, especially if Power is just a bad, like, we thought Denji was a bad roommate. Power's a terrible roommate. Awful. Just filthy, personal hygiene just in the gutter. doesn't eat vegetables, throwing food across the room. What are you doing, man? Get it together. Denji was very disappointed after fulfilling his goal with power. Little disappointed. It was like, oh, that's it, which is really funny, because that was his driving force the whole time, right? Where he was like, this is what I want more than anything. And then we have the scene, right, where Makima gives Denji a more personal experience. Where he's like, hey, in my experience, it is better when you have a personal connection to the other person, right? Which makes sense, right? And so he definitely agrees with that. He felt that he was literally got knocked out of his chair from the experience, and he's all in again. He is rejuvenated. And Makima, I feel like at this point Makima is messing with him. Makima is using him, and I feel like we all know that, because it's like, I don't think he actually or she actually likes him. I think that she's like, oh, he is an anomaly. We can use him. He's very powerful. When he is focused, he can help me achieve my goals. And so she sees that he's down and out, and he's kind of just like zoning out, very dull. Something happened, and so she's like, very, very quickly too, I might add, devises this plan to put the life back in him. And now he's here, and now she sneaks in, hey, I want you to kill the Gun Devil. I completely forgot that was her goal. Now that we're reminded of it, I'm like, oh yeah, right, she's after the Gun Devil, which is why in the previous episode we saw Hayakawa be like, oh, sorry Makima, we, in the last Devil there weren't any gun parts. And I was like, I don't remember if I said anything, but in my mind I was like, gun parts? Why do you bring up gun parts? And now this episode, Gun Devil, right? There's the top of the top. That's what we're going for, right? Because the Gun Devil is like wreaking havoc, right? Just one bullet can just take out an entire town, apparently. And if Denji kills the Gun Devil, she will make any of his wishes come true. She doesn't let him say what they're both thinking, but man, if not only did the whole personal side of things make him rejuvenated, but now this new thing where it's like, hey, I'll fulfill any wish. And he's like, you mean anything? And so it's like, yeah, so he's here, he's in it now, he's completely focused, and then we have an even bigger thing where Himeno is like, hey, whoever kills the Gun Devil, I'll give him a little kiss. It's like, ooh, there's some motivation right there, right? Denji turns it down initially because it's like, nah, I'm probably motivated, I don't need it. I have another person that I have my sights set on, and besides, I learned that personal touch makes it worthwhile. And lady, I don't even know your name. And she's like, hey, what if I sweeten the pot? And Denji's like, what? And so now I love it because it hard cuts to Denji just like power walking with the axe in his hand. He's like, I'm gonna kill the devil. And so he's in it now. So that's great. And then it ends with a huge cliffhanger where it's like, hey, we're walking upstairs, but we're not leaving the 8th floor. What's going on here? What's happening? I'm going down the stairs and I'm coming back down the stairs on top of the stairs. What's happening? And so that's where we kind of see, because I don't remember, do they think that the Gun Devil is here? Or do they think another devil? I don't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure they think the Gun Devil is here. Again, I don't remember the manga. Like, I don't remember that if this is the Gun Devil or not. I have no clue. But that is the first little inkling of like, there's something powerful here. There's a powerful devil here for them to somehow they're magically keeping us on this floor. So either they're luring us to them because they're so cocky. They're like, come over here to my room. I'm going to murder all of you in about 10 seconds. Or the devil is keeping them off of their floor. So again, I do not remember how they get through this. I mean, of course they do. I mean, we're in episode 5. You know what I mean? Like, they of course get, like, there's more show. But yeah, I'm very interested to remember how that happens. And, you know, devils mean there's another fight scene, and the fight scenes are incredible, so I can't wait. Yeah, so that was it. Chainsaw Man episode 4 and 5. Love it, right? Continues to be the anime of the year, in my opinion. Next, you gotta do it yourself. A very different feeling, a very different vibe. Just a nice little show, you know? So this episode is where we're introduced to She, who is a ninja, apparently. A little bit of She action here. She is awesome. Sorry. Yeah, so she's awesome. She's a ninja, coming through the roof, all that stuff. A quick note here. I do like how they sprinkle in English every now and again because of Jobco. It's just funny to me. That's like, cause like I've never heard as much English in a subbed anime before. it's just so funny whenever you hear it, cause like they just move in and out of English every now and again. It's just funny. She has joined the DIY club, not as official member though, because they were very hyped for a second. Hey, 5 members finally, we're good. DIY club here to stay. But they can't keep it because, well, she doesn't go to this school. So she can be an unofficial member, but you still need one more member from the school to keep it up. A little bit disheartening, but, I think the play makes sense, even from like a writing perspective. Because it's like, okay, we're able to get this other cool character. We have a little bit of her story, all that stuff. She's super in it, right? But we haven't quite reached our goal, which the goal of the show is for the DIY club to get 5 members, because they need 5 members in order to keep it going. Because we're having fun, we're having a good time creating all this stuff, but in the back of our minds we're like, if they don't get another member, DIY club is done, and that's kind of the end of the show, right? So halfway through the show, it makes sense that they're not like, oh, the weight is off all their shoulders. Now they can just have a fun time fully focusing on the creation of stuff rather than how do we attract new members. I mean, of course, even once they reach their goal, I'm sure they want new members. It'd be dope to have 30 people part of the club. You know what they could get done with that many people, But yeah, so we have that. Serafu's concept art is ridiculous. I love seeing the concept art where it's just like a train coming through and there's like a dragon and there's like animals and crazy like floating. It's just like, okay, Serafu, love the imagination. You love to see it, but that is impossible. Even for the most skilled DIYers. I think you're living in Fantasyland a little bit, just a little bit, But so he's like, oh well, we'll take your imagination into consideration, and we'll try to, we'll try to get as wacky as we can with it, but we also have to make something that's, doable on Earth. So I love Serafu. Serafu really is the glue to the DIY, and I love it. Using Jobco's money ruins the spirit of DIY, which we learned because it's like, oh, that's it. Oh, I can give the money right now, and even she is like, I got money too. Let's get it. But the main character, not the main character, the leader of the club. Don't remember her name. Didn't write it down because I am dumb. But she's even like, no, we can't just buy our way out of stuff. That's not in the essence of DIY. DIY is all about what do we have, what can we scrounge up to make something beautiful. Like we want to use the stuff we have, we can get our hands on, to turn raw materials into a beautiful creation. And so us just buying everything, like at that point, why don't we just hire people to build a treehouse for us? You know what I mean? Like it's just like, where does it end? And so for them it's like, no, we're going to use our budget and we are going to find the materials in a very DIY way, and I love that attitude too, because again, like if we just use Jobco's money, it's like, okay, well, why don't we just build like a like a future, you know, is like a robot secret base. You know, what's the point? And with that, they decided to take some old pallets, and so that that's nice, right? They find the pallets. I wasn't expecting people to be like, yeah, take as many pallets as you want. I'm like, wow, they're just not using the pallets. Okay, interesting. Pallets are very heavy too. Like I've lifted pallets before. It's like, oof. They're not like impossible or anything, but like pallets are heavy. And they're supposed to be because they're very sturdy, right? They're supposed to be, they hold stuff that is way heavier than they themselves. So that's a very smart thing, right? She got that idea. Awesome. There's this weird subplot happening where like the squid thing is like becoming more and more sentient. I don't know if I like it. The squid really wants to visit the beach, because he's like squid. He's like, oh man, wouldn't it be crazy if I visited the beach with you guys? It's like, okay, man, And he's even like, oh, bring me a souvenir. That'd be so amazing. That'd be so awesome. It's like, all right, man. Is the squid gonna be the villain? Is the squid gonna have his Joker moment? It was also very cute that they all wore their swimsuits under their clothes. It's like, but we didn't come prepared to do beach stuff. We came here to get supplies and hang out. We didn't do beach stuff. It's like, actually, I wore my swimsuit. Oh, I actually wore my swimsuit too. Oh, so did I. Oh, so did I. It's like, you guys, you rascals, you all knew. You all deep down wanted to have fun playing in the water, all that stuff. Come on. And Purin is definitely getting closer and closer to joining the club. I think there was a couple moments even in the beach episode where she was breaking down a little bit, breaking down the like hard exterior shell that she has, the very like, the very tsundere thing that she has going on. And there was even a moment where she was about to say some like real stuff to Serafu, but then she got interrupted or something. And it's like, yeah, she's gonna join at some point. I mean, it's that classic, like, she's very tsundere, especially after being Serafu's friend for a while. Now they, not the same school, and she's always very interested, even asking she about like, hey, so, I don't really care, but like, I heard you joined the DIY club. I don't really care, but like, why'd you do that? And it's like, okay, guy. we know you're getting there. Again, not an official member though. If she does join, I wonder what's gonna happen. Wonder what other character we're gonna be introduced to that's gonna be part of the school, But yeah, great show. Do it yourself. Episode 5 and 6, love it. It's a good time. I'm sure probably the whole second half of the show. I just don't know how deep they're gonna dive into it. I imagine it might be like the next few episodes are gonna be surrounded, like anchored in the idea of them doing the treehouse, right? Maybe that'll be the thing. Maybe we won't get an actual 5th member. Maybe it will be like treehouse done, a swarm of people. It doesn't have to be that many, but even like a handful or two of people come in and like, yo, you guys built this? I want to do that. I want to do stuff. And so that's how they get their more members. It'd be cool, We will see. Lastly, but certainly not leastly, Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, episodes 5 and 6. Now listen, man. I love Chainsaw Man. I love it. Love it so much. But if you guys are gonna sit here, if you guys are gonna sit here and tell me The Witch from Mercury is not one of the best shows this year, you are lying to yourself. Because this show is incredible. Gosh. Okay, so let's just get into it, man. That's definitely my favorite show of the year, or of the season. That's not an adaptation. I mean, to be fair, the show might be a manga adaptation. I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but I mean, Chainsaw Man, the most anticipated manga adaptation of a while. Like this was like Chainsaw Man. So Mobile Suit Gundam, I love it so much. So Ellen shredded that 3v1, killing it, right? He's just proving why he is one of the higher ups in this whole hierarchy, right? Ellen is a human created to pilot Gundams. That's a revelation. Didn't expect that. Gundams are supposed to be outlawed, so there's that aspect to it. Also, that he's not even like, I say human, he's not like a real person, you know? Like you say he took the face of the actual Ellen, not took, but was given the face of the actual Ellen to be this thing. And so he was like created in a lab basically, and he doesn't have a birthday, and he's, oh man, he's just like a tortured soul, man, it sucks. Ellen realizes that the Ariel's not quite a Gundam. Yeah, so that's a tough moment for us, because he was very much looking forward to the idea that him and Suletta were the same, that Suletta was also like a lab rat, I guess, because he was like, man, everyone says the Ariel isn't a Gundam, or it might be a Gundam, but if it is, the only way she's able to control it as well as she does is she has to be like me, to have the gun format and be able to like be the Gundam, right? Yeah, that's the whole thing. But he gets in it and he's like, nah, something's missing. This isn't it. Ariel's not a Gundam, which means Suletta isn't like me. She finally thought that he had someone he can relate to, and he doesn't. And so now he takes it out on Suletta. He's like, you know what? We're out. I'm doing everything I was told. I'm gonna fight her, take Ariel, bada bing, bada boom, And so we have Ellen fighting Ghoul because he has to, and he just destroyed Ghoul. He uses the electromagnet stuff, which like freezes Ghoul and just slices him up, makes him look like a fool. Ghoul is a fool. And and so we just see how strong Gundams are. First of all, crazy that like he clearly like also has like Suletta comes in with not a Gundam and has like the whole council trying to just disband her, but Ellen comes in clearly also a Gundam. I mean, Ariel's not a Gundam, but Ellen's suit is a Gundam, and just no one bats an eye, and no one's like, hey, wait, hold on a second, is that a Gundam too? no one cares apparently. That's some sexist. That's not sexist. I don't know what is. And let's see where we're at. Where are we at? So just destroys Ghoul, and now Ellen wants the Ariel, right? Because his house, the like Peel house or whatever, who built, the woman who built the Gundam built him, was like, that's what we need. Take it out, see what's going on. How is it a Gundam but not a Gundam? We need to figure it out. And so on the other side we got Suletta. Earth House built thrusters for the Ariel because that's what their battle's gonna be. It's gonna be a sky battle or a space battle, I guess. But Ariel doesn't have the capability. That's not how Ariel does. So they have to like cobble together some stuff. And man, was it Nika? I think. Nico? I forget. She kills it, right? She builds a thing, able to fly, great stuff, right? You love Earth House. Earth House is the like classic trope of like, oh, we're all the people that no one likes apparently because many Spatians are racist against Earth House. Doesn't make any sense. Which even like Miorine said that too, where it's like, if you hate us because we're from space, then how are you any different from the Spatians who hate you because you're from Earth? That's the only reason you hate us. That's literally hypocrisy. You can't hate us it doesn't make sense. So kind of got through to them a little bit. And let's see, Suletta proposed to make today Ellen's birthday. He said he doesn't have a birthday, doesn't know when it is. So I was like, I want to make today's birthday. And so again, just gets through more and more to Ellen, or the Ellen imposter, right? That's the power of Suletta, right? Suletta's just likable. She tells it like it is, and that's why everyone loves her, or should love her, right? Suletta, if she wins, she wants to know more things about Ellen. That's her prize, which everyone takes as a confession, but it's like, it's not a confession. She's intrigued, right? With their dynamic of, it is what it is, makes sense. Makes sense also for her character too, to like ask for something like that. To be like, I don't want I don't want anything material. Like, if you win, you're gonna take my not my Gundam, my suit, my Ariel. But if I win, I just want you to tell me more about yourself, you know? And like, she's doing it for him, you know? Like, the prize is more for him than anything. I just wrote down gun bits because I just love that it's like anything anything involving a Gundam just has Gund at the front of it, so these are Gund bits. Thought that was funny. Ariel apparently has a last resort EMP, where the Ariel was like, "Oh no, we're gonna lose!" Poof, and just EMP'd everything. All of Ellen's gun bits died. His suit died, and it's like Ariel wins. It's like, I can't lose, you know. And, there's one reason I just really love Suletta and her Ariel, because it's like, we are different, but we're doing it a different way. Like we're powerful because we have tech on our side, and Suletta also just has the will and the heart to do it. And it's, guess what, guys? It's not a Gundam. You guys think it's a Gundam, but we're not using the gun format. You know what I mean? Like, we're not, like, you guys want it to be a Gundam so bad because we're winning. Like, we're out here taking dubs left and right, you know? So you want it to be a Gundam so that you can say, "Oh, it's illegal. It's illegal. Tear it down." You know, bag it and tag it. But it's not. It's not a Gundam. And then a very sad ending, a very bittersweet ending to it. Suletta sings "Happy Birthday," waiting for Ellen, because they had like a date, quote unquote. You know, so singing "Happy Birthday" of like, "Hey, today's supposed to be his birthday, so I'm gonna sing happy birthday," you know. Ellen also singing "Happy Birthday" while he gets destroyed, I guess. So yeah, very, very poetic ending almost. So I imagine the real Ellen is now gonna come back and like be here now. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, man, probably my favorite anime of the season. That's not like an adaptation of something that I already know about. You know, like I already know everything about Chainsaw Man. I don't remember everything about Chainsaw Man, but I've read part 1. You know, so like anything that could happen in the show, unless they make changes to it, I already know about it. Like, the knowledge is in here somewhere. But Mobile Suit Gundam Mercury is just like, god dang, you know, like, and now we move forward, and it's like, I don't know. Again, like, we have the whole rivalry between the one from Peel House and then Pandora, right? Where it's like, "Oh, you're still alive. Oh, you're still doing that. Oh, I'm better than you, whatever." And Pandora's like, "Tuh, Ariel, you wish you could make something like Ariel. You thought Gundams were OP? No. Ariel took that formula and twisted it, you know." But yeah, this show's great. I love it so much. And yeah, that is the end. That is the end, everyone. Like I said, anime season very strong. Please, let me know what your thoughts are on any of these shows. Let me know if there's any shows that I'm not watching that I should be. Obviously, there's probably a few sequels out there that I can't watch because I haven't watched the prerequisites. But anything other than that, maybe, is there a show out there that I'm just sleeping on? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, otherwise, very, very strong season. About halfway through it. So much to see what your thoughts are on these shows being halfway through. Of course, some of these shows are multiple cores. Like, I think Eminence and Shadows, 20 episodes. Blue Lock is 24. I think that's it. My Hero might be 2 cores. I don't remember. But I think that's it. So most of the shows that I'm covering are only 1 core. So I'm gonna be up, And yeah, love anime. Love the season. I think that's it. I'm just vamping at this point for no reason. Yeah. So let me know what you thought of those episodes. Let me know about your predictions about the future episodes. Some of these are episode 5 or 6 or 7 that we're getting into, so have a good time there. Yeah, I think that's it. Until next time, make sure to watch more anime.